Boom! Welcome back, everybody. This is An Evening with Jeffrey Kramer. We're very excited to have Jeffrey here tonight. You can't see it, but it's behind me here. There's a Funko. There it is, right there. We got some Jaws representation going on today, and he's actually coming to us from Martha's Vineyard itself, which of course is where Jaws 2 even. I'm pretty sure all the Jaws at some point were filmed. Maybe not entirely, but they were all filmed there. But obviously the big one, Jaws, was filmed there. So it's insane to think, because we've had some cool guests on the channel before, but this might be, just in terms of he was in one of the greatest movies
of all time.
And
how many people could say that?
When we bring him in, you're going to have a chance to tell him that you actually didn't like Jaws at one point. And I was the one, because it came out in IMAX last year.
Yes.
It re-released in IMAX last year, and we went to go see it.
Way to put me on blast.
And we made Haley a fan of Jaws, because that was one of my missions in life. I was like, I can't believe you don't like Jaws.
Make me fan of Jaws.
But of course, he's done other things other than Jaws. We're going to talk about all that stuff. This was his birthday weekend, everybody, by the way. So we're going to be talking about that. And he has asked to keep it to an hour. So we're going to bring him in right now. We're going to, we're not going to waste any time. We're just going to bring him in so that we can get the most out of this. So let me make sure I got the, is it this one or is it this one? I think it's this one, right? The drum roll.
I think so.
I think that's the drum roll. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is An Evening with Jeffrey Kramer.
Whoa, how cool.
Hey, Jeff.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
So this,
I'm here because Eddie is lovingly insistent. He wouldn't take no for an answer. And I'm happy he didn't.
Yeah, no, it's so I actually felt inspired to do this. I have to give credit where credit's due. I felt inspired because the Daily Jaws just recently did a bunch of interviews for the 45th anniversary of Jaws 2. And I watched all of them. I watched yours included. And I saw how out of all of them, you seemed the most excited to still be talking about all this stuff. And so I was like, you know what? Let's get him on. Obviously, let's talk about the obligatory Jaws talk, but let's also figure out some other cool things about Jeffrey that maybe most interviews don't really dive into, because they are so focused on Jaws 2, all that stuff. So cool. This is gonna be a nice little kind of balancing act of the obligatory stuff, and then of course just
other
miscellaneous things. So
cool.
First and foremost, I said it to you on the day, but happy belated birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
How does it feel?
Well, I kind of tend to lie about my age every day except to get my jabs, because I'm getting up there.
Well, how does it feel to be 29?
So quickly. I don't know how it went so fast, but I am thrilled to be here, and I'm here on my beloved Martha's Vineyard. My mother was born here.
Wow.
And I have family and cousins. My kids love it. It's the best.
So being on the vineyard, obviously you were there when this thing was filmed.
Right. But I was an actor in New York, and I read about it in the local paper here. Called my agent and went and met Steven. And it was the only time in my life that I've ever gone to an audition, and I walked out and I thought, I'm going to get this job. I know it. And 10 days later, I was in Virginia shooting a commercial, and I got the call. But none of us ever knew that Jaws was going to be what it turned out to be. I mean, they were going to pull the plug. It was a perfect creative storm. Everything came together. It doesn't happen often in life, in anywhere, anyhow.
But see, I love that. Okay, so the moment I bring up Jaws, you go right into I auditioned for it. It wasn't what it was supposed to be. I wanted to ask, obviously it's changed, but when you when you vacation or when you live in Martha's Vineyard, do you still feel like it has the essence of Jaws when you filmed it?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, the towns still look the same.
Really?
Edgartown with the white picket fences, you know, where we did a lot of those shootings, and other towns. It's exactly the same. It has not changed.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Except maybe more people now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, because, you know, saying we didn't know what it was going to end up being. Well, didn't Spielberg only have Duel before?
It was Duel and Sugarland Express.
Done Duel before.
Oh.
But it was also Sugarland Express, right?
Yes, he did Sugarland.
And then Jaws was
right. Sugarland was the first feature. I think Duel was a TV movie.
Yeah. Right. Yep. That's amazing. I've never been to Martha's Vineyard. My whole family, for the most part, is from Massachusetts, and they're in the Braintree area. And
come 2025, it's 50 years. And I'm going to help do a 50-year and happy birthday Jaws anniversary special.
Oh, wow.
We're just starting it now, but I had written to Stephen, and my friend Justin Falvey co-runs his television company, and they love the idea, and he's going to let me do it with his. Stephen has a go-to guy who I really like named Laurent Bouzereau, who does all of his the making of Jurassic Park, the making of Indiana Jones, the making of Jaws. He does all of them. So it's very cool.
Wow. That is so cool. Like, I'm just writing to Steven Spielberg.
Well, my good friend. Jaws metamorphosed my life. It changed. And, you know, anybody who touches or is near anything that is a massive success seems to benefit from it. And I certainly did. That's amazing. The idea that anybody would even recognize me is bizarre. But boy, it happens sometimes. It's not like Dreyfus. Richard is, Richard, we became great friends. He's the godfather to one of my kids.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Yep. I remember when I heard that in one of the other interviews you did, I was like, oh, that is perfect. Like, that's just,
that's crazy.
That's perfect. Now,
if I sit next to him at some of these signings, I get spillover.
Now, can I ask how come Dreyfus and not obviously Shaw was he unfortunately passed away shortly after Jaws, but how come not Scheider?
What do you mean?
In terms of like, because you have to choose, right? The Godfather.
Well, yeah, but I was not as close to Roy ever as I was to Richard, and Richard was more of my contemporary, and I actually came across a picture of Richard and myself as kids with our firstborn babies on our shoulders, and my grandmother is driving by in the background on the vineyard here, because Richard came up and rented a house right next to us one summer, and it was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh my God.
That is so cool. That's so cool. I love it. So,
and Richard was actually, we were having our babies, both our wives were pregnant, and Richard called up and he says, Kramer, can you bring up some chicken from this place called Greenblatt's? And I said, sure. And we get the chicken, we go up to Richard's, we have dinner, and within 24 hours, both women delivered their children, and we always blamed it on the Greenblatt's chicken. For sure.
That is so cool. That is so cool. No, I love that. Like, that's just because you don't hear too much about that. You know, people work with people, and then, you know, like you said, like you're not super close with them.
They go their separate ways.
Well, but you know, friendships happened, and on Jaws 2, it was 9 months on a location. All of those kids were still friends. Gigi Vorgan, Gary Springer, John Dukakis, Billy Van Zandt, we're all still dear friends, and we get together, and Annie Dusenberry. I love those people. And Jeannot Swark is one of my closest friends. Joe Alves in life forever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's lovely.
That is so cool.
I'm a rich man. I just don't have the money.
Well, you go to like you said, you never thought this would happen, but you like I was on your Twitter page and everything. Like there's a lot of conventions that are suddenly happening that are now all of a sudden
more than ever. And believe me, I don't go to many of them, but and now on Halloween 2, I sign things. If you blink, you'll miss me in Halloween 2. And Clue must have been a babysitter picture for you guys and others, because it's grown in popularity. It's kind of fun.
Well, when I knew that this was going to happen, when we had solidified the date and time, I looked at Haley and I was like, "Look, we've seen Jaws, we've seen Jaws 2. I've seen Halloween 2. She has not. But like you said, you blink and you miss you."
Oh yeah, for sure.
But we both had never seen Clue.
Oh really?
So the other night we watched Clue for the very first time, and I'm not, pardon my French, I'm not kissing ass because you're here. That is a damn good movie.
Oh, I agree. And hey, listen, I applaud you for doing your homework. Very cool.
Well, because I went through your credits and I was like, what are the, like, there's the obvious ones that stand out, right? And then there's, I mean, you were on the Incredible Hulk, which my dad is probably watching right now.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He's right around your age. So he's probably like, he was on the Incredible Hulk.
Whoa. I used to play the leader of Fonzie's old gang.
Happy Days.
Oh
Lefty from the Falcons. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's
and
so
I haven't
cool.
acted in 30 plus years.
No? Oh,
Really?
No.
So you're strictly doing the producing.
I did do a couple in Ally McBeal because David was playing with me, and David Kelly, and in the pilot of Ally, she's walking down the street and she's pissed off, and she bumps a guy in the shoulder and it smacks him, and it's me. In episode 3, I sue her.
That is so cool. Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
It's just, I love how down to earth you are about it all. And
you're very kind.
So you're more on the producing side now?
I am. I was having 3 kids. I'm on a corner with my hat down selling flowers. I didn't want my agent to see me. And I then changed my life, and I was blessed. And, it's in television, it's all about character in many ways. And there's no facts here. It's all opinions forcibly argued. So I was good at that. I had a point of view and an opinion about most everything, and I wasn't shy.
Oh, no, all right. Let's get into, because I could just keep gushing and gushing, but I want to get into our evenings with we have some questions that we come up with that are going to pop up on the screen.
Sure.
And feel free to, answer quickly, long, however you want to do it.
As long as it's honest.
As long as it's honest. And then we're going to get into some of the live comments that are coming in.
Perfect.
And then we'll see what happens from there. So the first one is this one. Feel free. You can read it off as it pops up here.
What are your top 5 underrated films? So not necessarily your favorite, because I mean, everybody asks that one.
Underrated
movies you feel like people don't appreciate like they should.
Well, the truth is, and I'm a member of the Academy, I don't go to movies so much anymore. Oh, wow. This is an interesting question. There were some that I loved growing. I loved the movies from the 70s. I loved Chinatown. I loved The Godfathers. There was a movie that I loved with Rod Steiger called The Pawnbroker. It was pretty heavy, but it was something else. And, I only wanted to be an actor because my mother had taken me to see Peter Pan.
Oh, wow.
I never, ever wanted to grow up. And I wanted to fly, for sure. And, somebody who's much smarter than myself once said to me, they were talking about faith. And I said, well, what do you mean? And so he said, somebody smarter than myself once told me that faith is when you come to the edge of all the light that and you're about to step off into the darkness of the unknown, one of 2 things will happen to you. One is you're going to be taught, you'll have something solid to stand on, or two, you're going to be taught to fly. And I always thought I could fly. And I think we all can when we free ourselves up enough to do so. Hopefully, I mean that.
No,
no.
No.
Have you ever considered being a motivational speaker?
No, but I am thinking of teaching a course that I can find the show in you. Because I got, when I changed my life and I got into producing, I ended up as running development at Fox, and we developed the X-Files, and I worked on some of the iconic shows that started Fox, and I love doing that. And everybody has a story. Not everyone knows how to make it into a TV show, but everybody has something that they want to share and tell. I think that's true.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to.
Oh yeah. I'm working to be in film. I'm currently in school. I'm an animation major because I want to ultimately be a director, to tell my own stories, but in a different sort of art form.
Where do you go to school?
Up here in Savannah, College of Art and Design, SCAD.
Oh,
it's called SCAD.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have friends who went to Cal Arts. Tim Burton went to Cal Arts. And I have a friend who's got a daughter who is so into anime, and, going to these signing conventions, the biggest lines, except for, the Star Trek guys, are the voiceover artists for anime in these series. There's lines, and they did a play in the West End. They did Totoro as a play, and it was stunning. God. It was fabulous. They're going to bring it back.
I love that. I love that.
Oh, it was really so cool.
That's really cool.
It made me a convert. I knew nothing about anime.
So have you seen Totoro, the movie, the animated movie?
Yes, now I have, yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, similar to me, because I wasn't really too big into that stuff, and her entering my life, she's definitely opened me up to some of the stuff out there, and that's what's so cool about it.
Eddie, women take us to places we never dreamed.
It's great. I love it.
I get it.
It's so fun. So you said Chinatown. I don't think most people would say that's underrated. I think that's
I see underrated. It's so interesting. I don't think like that. Offhand, it's very hard for me to think of some of these movies that I always loved, and I'm so in the moment that I don't always think about the past like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But you were talking about Peter Pan, and most would say out of Spielberg's filmography, Hook is very underrated.
Well, I love Steven's movies. I mean, I love D.T., and I recently became friendly with Henry Thomas at some of these things, and he's a lovely kid. He's just great. And some of the, boy.
Have you seen Hook?
Hook? Oh,
Hook.
yeah.
With Robin and Dustin Hoffman, Julia Roberts.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah,
and I loved it.
Yeah,
but I love Mary Martin and Peter Pan on Broadway. Sandy Duncan was the next generation of it, but it really, as a kid, my mother said I almost fell out of the balcony. True.
Well, I know you said you haven't been watching many recent films, but did you see that Disney is making another live action Peter Pan movie?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's going straight to Disney Plus.
It already came out, right? It's called Wendy and Peter. I think it's called Wendy and Peter.
No, I never saw it.
Yeah. There's so many iterations of it. It's one of those timeless tales
it's about not growing up. It's about being a kid forever. And I mean, I still think like I'm 15. I certainly don't. I looked like Methuselah and looked like a bus hit me, but the mind is still young.
No, you know what? Has anyone told you? Because the moment I looked at one of those photos, I think it might be the one on the thumbnail that I used, but has anyone told you, like, for me, and it's, I don't know if it's accurate, but you give me Frankie Valli vibes.
Oh, I love Frankie. He's a wonderful guy, and I like him a lot. I know him. And Frankie's like well into his 80s. He's really something
Yeah.
else.
Yep.
Energy, and he's a terrific guy.
Yeah. I mean, look
Big
at Harrison
talent.
Ford.
Like, really, look at Harris. He's great.
Yeah.
Terrific.
So, but I love that it's just like it quite literally is just a number. You're like, I'm gonna be 31 this year, right? So to a lot of people,
Right.
it's like, oh wow, you're so young.
Over the hill.
But I still feel like I'm 15, like you said. Like I have like
I think that's real age. The others are chronological age.
yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. So the pawnbroker is the one I'm taking away from here. I've never heard of the pawnbroker.
And I know the minute we get over this, I'll think of 5.
All right.
Yeah,
Send
that
them to
always
me.
happens.
All right.
Send them to me. So the pawnbroker. All right. So I know you say you don't watch a lot of recent
I
stuff.
love Stand By Me. I remember that well.
Yep.
I'll interrupt you as we go on and think of some.
It's cool. So you haven't seen a lot of recent stuff, but any recent movie that you would have liked to have been a part of?
Ones. I like the recent ones. Well, I love to work. And as an actor, by the way, the reason I got out of it is we were having our 3rd child, and acting is like this. It's up and down, and there's no middle. And as stars started to get more and more money, they squeezed the middle. And it's very hard to get good material, good stuff in a really good supporting role. And, I started in pilots, and we used to have my own series once. And we shot 13 episodes. They aired 3. Oof. And it was over. It was called Struck by Lightning. And it was me and Jack Elam, who was a one-eyed cowboy actor. If you saw him, you might know him.
Okay.
He used to do movies with Ward Bond and John Wayne, and they'd each drink 3 quarts a day. I mean, the stories are legend. But we shot 13 episodes of this, and I go out with my friend Marty the night before, and I said, I'm so excited. Marty had the half hour before me on the same night. And I said, maybe I'll finally get to buy a house. The next day, I drove to work after the premiere, and the guard at the gate said to me, Jeffrey, your friend Marty called, and he said, if he were you, he wouldn't even buy lunch. It was such a disaster. And they canceled it after 3 episodes. My poor mom, she was looking forward to this.
Wow.
Does it exist anywhere? Like,
I don't know.
Like a DVD?
It was a Paramount show. I have no idea. But I was the great-great-grandson of Dr. Frankenstein, and he was the monster who was the handyman at an inn in Maine, and he'd keep getting struck by lightning, go, like it tickled his back. It was funny. But it is what it is. What can you do?
Yeah.
So it could potentially be like Lost? Like
it's like lost media.
I'm sure it's in. I don't think anybody's clamoring to see it. It wasn't that good, but it was fun. I love doing it.
Wow. Huh. But what's a recent movie that you've seen that you would have loved to have been a part of? Something that was like, wow, if I was still doing this.
Well, I really am a big fan of these big movies. I love Top Gun. I thought I have a friend who takes me to all the James Bond movies, which I just love. I love the big adventures. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. So like any like those Marvel movies, superhero things?
No, I'm not a superhero movie, but I love the smart ones, the Ludlum movies. I used to when I was a young actor, I was in high school, and when I was 13, I played Warren Beatty's little brother in a production of Compulsion that Robert Ludlum produced. And he always wanted to be a writer. I remember this. And we stayed in touch forever. And in fact, in the Matlock paper, the hero steals Jeffrey Kramer's car. But it was so much fun. And I once saw Warren somewhat recently, and I said, I want to tell you something. When I was 13 and we were in that play, I thought, I can't wait to grow up because women just throw themselves at you. And then I realized it was just him. It wasn't the rest of us that they threw that.
Yeah. It's those diamonds in the rough
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's wild. So we don't even have like, this is what I love about this. I don't have this as like a predetermined question, but going into acting, are you like, was that something you wanted? Did you want to be the next big star?
Everybody kind of wanted to be famous, I guess. And you know what? And after all of this, and now at this point in my career, there are kids who star on series on the CW who will be teaching school in the San Fernando Valley in 3 years. I mean, you don't need talent to become a star. In a sense, you need it. You need to maintain it. You know, the idea that talent is commensurate with success. You can be a one-shot wonder, but you need talent to sustain success, to keep being successful. I mean, look at these guys who are like character actors. Look at Dustin. Look at Pacino and Bobby De Niro, and I mean, they change as each role comes. I mean, it's hard not to repeat yourself when you do 40, 50 movies, but
right.
It's, you know, and I loved working. But then when I realized that, you know, we, it was all very, well, I really had a life's awakening when I started to think about acting and ups and downs of life. And I thought, I want more control over my life because actors we're the last hired and the first fired. And I thought, I don't like this. I mean, it's different when you're a big star, but you know, for journeyman actors, it was tough. You wanted more control over your life. I certainly did. And I did it. But I always made sure that at any of our casting rooms, these casting directors were going to treat actors with respect, not take a phone call, which happened to be, not eat a sandwich in the middle of your audition and be rude. It still makes me crazy to think about it. That was done to me, and I was too insecure, and I didn't speak up at that time, but I do now.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh boy.
Did you ever see it came out in 2016, La La Land?
Oh, you loved it. Loved
right?
it. Yeah,
you talking about that, it reminded me of that, like it's like a montage where she's auditioning.
Oh yeah,
and,
yeah.
And the people auditioning her are like falling asleep. They're they're being so rude to her. She's giving her all, and they could care less, you know, because they've already determined who they want.
I totally agree. And what a great opening that was. That one shot
on the highway.
Boom. Oh, stunning.
Yeah. Yep.
My friend Jay Beanstalk did a reality show about dogs, and kind of he used some of that idea, and it was brilliant.
So this one, because we wanted to, you know, be timely, and
it's sort of speaking about, you know, treating people with respect.
I mean, that's kind of where this all kind of goes into anyway. Assuming you can, because I don't know what any of this even entails, but any thoughts on the current strike right now?
Yeah, I do. I voted for it. I'm still a member, and I voted for it. And the residuals that they pay are silly, and the way they, you know, I thought Fran Drescher was brilliant in a way, and her speech off the cuff about being disrespected and all of that stuff, I thought it was just great. And I think we need, you know, it's very hard to watch the CEO of certain companies make $250 million in 2 years, and you can't pay us. And nowadays, if you create a show for a streamer, they own it. They don't have to ask you if they want to redo it in 10 years or anything of the sort. They own it. It's crazy. It's not the way it should be, and it's wrong. And you know, we are all going to have to deal with the AI issue. That is something else. No matter who we are, what we do. I read saw that the guy who created AI was in Congress, and he said everything should be identified as AI that is generated by AI. I thought it was brilliant that Sarah Silverman is suing AI because they've used some of her books or some of her stuff. They don't have permission to do that.
Well, funny you say that because at my school right now there's a big controversy because one of the softwares that we use for animation, that it doesn't tell you explicitly, you have to go sort of within their code to deactivate it, but off the cuff, like you download it, you start fiddling with it, creating your art, it gets sold to AI
That's
generators to
crazy.
be used.
You can't do that. It's nuts. And the writers, I don't blame them one bit. They have these mini rooms. They tie up writers. They don't allow them to take other jobs. They don't pay them well. It's crazy. Although I think we're all going to win and then lose by winning in the sense because there'll be fewer streamers, fewer jobs. Streamers are the new networks.
Yeah.
There's cables disappearing, the broadcast certainly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Anytime I visit my parents, my dad is always talking about how, when I was growing up, there was 3 channels.
I get it. I say that my kids go, I know. We heard it, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad said 3, 5, and 9. That was it.
3, 5, and 9.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting because a lot of people say that we have to embrace technology. You have to embrace it because there's no stopping it. It's just, it's gonna it might not be Terminator, right, level, but
I get it. Nowadays, if they did Jaws, they'd want it bigger. They'd have to do more things. And when we, particularly in Jaws 2 and Jaws 1 too, when sailboats would pass in the background. But when in Jaws 2, we did a lot of that in Pensacola, and you would go and you would see a nuclear powered aircraft carrier in the background. And nowadays you can get rid of it and green screen and everything else. But then you had to just wait. And it was, the reason Jaws was so good, I thought, was because the shark didn't work. You couldn't use it too much, and you had to rely on character. So as the rain had, we shot everything out that we could do, interior wise. They would just, end up giving me a little bit more.
yes, that was one of my favorite things.
And on Jaws 2, I showed up to work and he had cut my part in half, John Hancock, and gave his stuff to another guy and all the good lines. And I said, it isn't what I signed up for. And I left, I quit. And then he got fired. And the new director, Jean Swark, had said, wait a minute, where was the guy who was the original? I liked him. And he was one of my dear friends. And Joe Alves did the same thing with me. Mm-hmm. And, I ended up doing Santa Claus the movie with Jeannot. And Lithgow, we've been friends since we're 19 years old. He beat me out for Fulbright once, years ago. He's such a good actor. He's so good.
See, if I wasn't so determined to watch Christmas movies at Christmas time, we also would have watched Santa Claus the movie now. But
that's so funny.
That will be something we watch this year because I've never seen Santa Claus the movie.
Oh, no, you never?
Nope.
Oh, it's fun. Dudley Moore, he's so good. He's terrific.
Yeah, but I am excited because I've heard nothing but good things talking about an underrated film that not a lot of people talk about. I just bought the Blu-ray. It came from Amazon today, Somewhere in Time.
Oh, that was Jeannot's. It's the most romantic movie I can think of. That's a good example of an underrated movie.
Yep. I love the premise of it.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but good things from people that talk about it. So I was like, I have to check this out.
Yeah,
so that one. And then obviously Santa Claus, the movie, I want to check out.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, the SAG-AFTRA strike is crazy. I didn't know if you could talk about it at all because I reached out to another person and they were like, I can't do anything right now.
This may go on for a long time. That's scary.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
makes. Sorry.
you live on the edge and it's just tough.
It makes me more afraid of the field that I chose to put my career interests into.
But you know what? It's always frightening to take that leap of faith into the future. And somehow, when you really need, and must do what you have to do, life expands to allow you.
Yep. Or like Jeff Goldblum said in Jurassic Park, life finds a way.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, doesn't matter how you say it. It's true though.
So this one is probably going to be really hard for you, but you obviously worked with 3 big name stars when it came to your films. You worked with Roy Scheider. You worked with Donald Pleasance. I don't know how much you worked with Donald Pleasance,
Right.
but you worked with Donald, and you worked with Tim Curry on Clue. So the question is, who was the most fun to work with?
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry?
Yeah. Roy was a nice guy in Jaws 1. In Jaws 2, he didn't really want to do it.
No.
And he wasn't happy, and he contractually had to do it, and it is what it is. But and he let it be known. He, at one point it was in People magazine that he and Jeannot were rolling on the floor, choking each other, literally. And but Donald Pleasance was a real pro, but I didn't work with him long. 2 days maybe at most, but he was a real pro, and he came in, he knew exactly what he wanted to do. And Tim Curry, we had mutual friends. He's a lovely man, and he deals with his issues. He had a stroke.
Yeah.
Tough.
When was the last time?
It's a classic. It's a babysitter fun classic.
It is. I would actually say, I mean, Jaws is an all-timer, but out of your filmography, I think Clue might be my favorite movie that you've been in, just because
you never saw Hollywood Boulevard?
No.
It's oh my God. It's Joe Dante and Alan Arkush used to cut trailers for Corman. And they cut these things where we shot it in 10 days. It's 3 girls go to Hollywood to make it in the movie. And meanwhile, they have guns, and they're taking on the Filipino army that was from all the Corman movies that were shot in the Philippines by Sirio Santiago. And Commander Cody sings the theme song, Truckin' and Fuckin'. And it was always, if it's a good picture, it's a miracle. But it took place because they shoot them in a week at this fictional studio in this movie, Miracle Pictures. Yeah, if it's a good picture, it's a miracle for sure. It was such a send up to the movies. Filmmakers loved it. Paul Bartel was in it, the movie maker. And Jonathan Kaplan was in it. Fun. Mary Warrenoff tries to kill Candace Railson and myself underneath the Hollywood sign. And as she's about to do it, the Y from the Hollywood sign falls down and crushes her to death.
Oh, God.
What a movie.
Oh, boy.
Are you familiar with what hashtags are? Hashtags?
Yeah, sure.
Hashtags? You just this is...
You inspired him.
This is, like, I just put this on here.
Funny.
Hashtag trucking and
Trucking and fucking. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing, especially because I know my dad's watching. He's because he loves Jaws. His whole life, his career, he was a trucker. So that's
that's so funny.
He's probably laughing right now.
Hey, Dad, I'm sorry I said the F word.
No, absolutely not. So Tim Curry, yeah.
Tim Curry was great.
I was gonna say, when was the last time you bumped into him?
Oh, I haven't seen him since.
Oh, wow.
But I used to hang with who's the professor? Who's the professor again?
Oh,
It's not
Name just-
Christopher Lloyd, is it?
Yeah, Chris
Yeah.
Lloyd.
Chris Lloyd?
We used to hang out at the Improv together, and he was a nice
Wow.
man. I haven't seen him in decades either.
Which is ironic because he is big into the conventions.
I haven't seen him at one. No.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen him.
And I know Curry, even though he has, like you said, his struggles in life, he does a lot of the conventions.
I
still,
get it.
too.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed, maybe, because I mean, I know 50 years is Jaws, but 40 years coming up is Clue.
Oh, I didn't even think about it. Sure, it is.
1985.
Yeah, and in both that and Halloween, I'm killed as soon as I enter.
So that was so cool because I was like, all right, so I was waiting for you to come on the screen because I know you play the motorist.
Yeah, thanks for not killing me right away, you guys.
But I was like, what is your part? Like, I was curious what your part was going to be. The moment they opened the door and there you are, I was like, okay, where's this going?
Better than the singing telegram, though.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, that's right. That was funny, though. That was funny. That whole movie is unhinged. That whole movie.
And it was ahead of its time that way. And it was all done on a sound stage in an interior set that was built for it.
Oh,
it's great.
It still holds up. Like, it's funny.
Yeah, we were
Oh,
laughing.
you bet.
We were laughing.
It's that physical comedy that doesn't exist anymore. I can't think of anything that does it quite like that anymore.
Because I know we were talking to a friend of ours and they were like, well, you saw Clue. Did you see Knives Out? Which is you've heard of Knives Out.
Murder Mystery.
And that's like the one with Jamie Lee Curtis. She's in there. And so.
But I thought Clue was more consistently funny.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know. Is Knives Out supposed to be funny or is it like a serious murder mystery?
It's kind of a mystery with humor, I thought.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. I mean,
you haven't seen it?
Well, I have seen it, but I never thought of it as an out and out comedy.
Okay. And then, of course, there's the two Adam Sandler ones, literally called Murder Mystery.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Ebbs and flows. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's so cool. That's so cool that Tim Curry, because I mean, you're a big fan of Tim Curry. Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Rocky Horror. He was just brilliant in Rocky Horror.
It's you watch him and to see how he is now, it is so unfortunate. It's so sad because in Clue, he held that movie together.
Oh, you bet. And Susan Sarandon and Barry Bostwick. I mean, what a great cast.
Him doing all the running around and everything, telling how it all happened.
And the one time he falls.
It's so sad. But this one is so this is the last one for the predetermined.
Yeah.
Because it was your birthday. What is
the definitive flavor of birthday cake?
What was your birthday cake?
Well, the birthday cake, we really had a pie.
Oh, okay.
I love chocolate. I love coffee. I love, it's they have a lot of great flavors here on the vineyard. There's a place called Mad Martha's here, and they have great flavors. I used to be a soda jerk up here when I was a kid, and I'd make fraps so thick flies couldn't get out of them. I gained 20 pounds in one summer. It was horrendous. Oh,
that's awesome. That's so cool.
I'm good with a birthday pie too. I personally prefer pie over cake.
Yeah.
Try not to eat tons of sweets.
Ice cream cake?
I love ice cream.
Ice cream cake. Yep. That's a good one. That's so cool.
Something lighthearted.
So, all right, let's see any comments we got. All right, so right here is one of our they're called moderators on the channel. They kind of watch the live chat to make sure that everybody's staying in line.
Yes.
So his name is Laren. He's a big time supporter of the channel, and he has a question for Jeffrey. How much time did you spend on the set of Halloween 2? Did you meet Dick Warlock, and have you met John Carpenter?
I did spend some time on the set. It wasn't a long time. My part was very small. And I met Dick Warlock, who everybody loved. And I didn't meet John Carpenter because Deborah Hill was the power on that one. And
Wow.
she was a stunning woman. She was a friend. She was so talented. And she came from Haddonfield,
Yep.
New Jersey. And
Yep.
she left us way too soon. She would have been one of the most prolific women producers ever. Kind and funny and a lovely human being, and gone way too soon.
It was cancer related, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it because of Halloween 2 that you got Clue? Because she's the producer on Clue as well, right?
Yes. Yes.
What, and
we were friends, and she right away said, I may have something for you. And I thought, great.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. But you take these jobs and you never know. Who knows? These could have been 3 pictures, it could have been called Erosion of a Coal Mine and nobody ever heard of it. It could have been the death knell.
Yeah. Yep. Another question coming in from Movie Collector. Hi, Jeffrey. After filming Jaws 1 and 2, do you see the beach differently?
You bet. None of us ever swam the same again. I mean, during Jaws 1, Stephen had a book. I remember a big kind of coffee table book, and it had pictures of people with severed arms and severed legs. And it was a lot of them were near San Francisco, under the Golden Gate, near Stinson Beach. And none of us, we used to swim at night. I wouldn't swim at night for anything.
Oh my
Nothing. God. It's too scary.
I'm afraid of the ocean as is. I mean,
well, I get that, but we swam, but boy, Jaws touched that collective unconscious fear of the primordial ooze, the depths of the ocean, and we all, Carl Gottlieb once said at the beginning, he said, this shark and what it does should kind of instill the same kind of fear that the shower scene did in Psycho.
Oh.
And it does.
I think it did it more. Like,
yeah.
I'm not afraid to take a shower,
take a shower.
But like I quite, and maybe it is because I watched Jaws when I was so young.
How old were you?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you. I had
too young to be
it has to
Jaws.
be yes, it has to be because of my dad. My dad.
So we should call social services on your father.
Please
because
do. Yeah.
People come in with 3 and 4-year-olds who have seen it, and I say to them, I should call social services on you. That's too young.
That is too young, but ultimately, I think because I don't like the ocean at all. Like I much prefer going into a pool.
Yeah, I'm just
so that whole scene where Ben Gardner's head comes out of the boat, that was done in Verna Field swimming pool.
There you go.
Well, you're screwed either way.
So Spielberg knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
But I had something I was gonna say. Dang it, I lost it. Oh, that's right. Yes, thank you. A lot of people think of Jaws as a shark movie. I think of it as it is a shark movie, but it is so much more than just a shark movie. Like whereas
it's a character study.
Yeah, where you have like the modern shark movies that are, the Shallows and stuff. To me, those are just shark movies.
Well, they adapted the book really well, I thought. At one point, there's a whole thing where Dreyfuss in the book has an affair with Brody's wife, and they didn't use that. And I think it turned out fine. And Stephen cast real people in these roles, many of them. And they were just, they're memorable. You think of them immediately. And they're not asked to carry a movie, but they were really, it added so much because, so much, movies are really about story in so many ways, and TV is all about characters. I used to tell young writers, it's all about character, because sometimes in these series, it doesn't matter what the hero does. You know what they're going to do. And CSI and Law and Order and all of that, you know what they're going to do, but you go back week after week because you love watching them do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, when I was a teenager, when I first watched Jaws, I had like, this is the best movie of all time. Like, I was
So
like,
yeah,
so
so this goes to at the beginning I said she hated Jaws for the longest time.
Yeah, really.
yeah, I was like being so hyped up. Like, this is like one of the movies that you have to see before you die. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, I really have to see this movie, rated like 100%. And then I watched it and I don't know what I was expecting. And of course, I'm a teenager, so I'm expecting,
Munch the whole
scary
movie.
Yeah,
shark,
yeah.
blood and guts and gore. And then I'm like, this is like a soap opera. I didn't sign up to watch a soap opera.
Oh boy, and that the scares that do come, we knew an usher who would let us in at a certain time every night for Ben Gardner's scene, and in the entire audience, popcorn was up in the air, and it was so great to just sit in the back and watch hundreds of people react immediately to it.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. Like I think it had to do with my mindset being so young. I was just like, I was so bored. And then like I held that to me. I was just like, I just had that bad taste. And then when he was like, it's coming to IMAX, we are going to go see it, whether you like it or not, I'm like, fine, so be it. And I watched it and like with a more, mature, like more how I've studied film, like well, since then, I'm like, wow, I get it.
I
Yeah,
get
I
it.
really
I
get it.
get it
yeah,
now.
for
I get it.
sure.
Yep.
I mean, that movie moves along. And then it's almost when they go out to sea, that adventure is something else.
Yep.
It's really, it's all the setup for all of us. I mean, there, but for the grace of go we.
Yeah. But funny enough, my all-time favorite Spielberg film is one that probably nobody will ever name as their, and it's his first. It's Duel. Duel is my
Oh,
absolute
Duel. Yeah,
Duel. I cannot believe he was what 21, 20.
yeah.
He was in his early 20s, and he made that movie all practical. They wanted to film it
Oh
on
boy,
sets. He actually filmed it on
because he
highway.
he thinks filmically. He thinks in that vein, and it's brilliant. And there aren't many people like him. He's very he's a visionary.
When
Truly.
was the last time you rubbed his elbow, Spielberg?
Well, I once ran into him in a restaurant, and once I collected an award at the Writers Guild that was being given to David Kelly, who I was his producing partner, and I was accepting the award, and Stephen was giving it, and he said, "Oh, Jerry, I'm proud of you." And I thought, "Oh my God, what am I going to say? No, it's Jeffrey." I couldn't do that. I just thought, "Oh yes, I'll just
Roll with the
save it for
punches.
the evening with Jeffrey Kramer show to tell."
That's awesome. So that was like the last time was what,
Yeah, but
years ago?
it's so interesting because you're in the same town, but everybody's got their own lives and family and work and whatever, and they don't often cross
Gotcha. And you
unless
don't
you're
have
working together.
but you don't have him on speed dial?
No, I do
No.
not. But I
Darn.
always thought he was a really nice man.
And that was the only potential time that you worked with him. There was never another film that you were
No,
like,
no. But I left acting somewhat, not too long after that, and it was a whole different ball game, and I enjoyed it.
gotcha. This question you get asked a lot, but movie collector, how was it like working with Roy?
It was different in both films.
Yep.
I mean, in Jaws 1, he was a good guy, and I ran a theater on Martha's Vineyard, and he came to it once. He was a very nice guy, and I'd run into him in Hollywood sometimes, and in different instances. And Jaws 2, he was the only one who was forced to make this movie, but he did a good job. You know that he got so tanned and dark as we went through this movie. They had to color correct him in the final mix.
Yep.
Oh
He used
my
to sit
God.
in a G string out there with a little reflector that it's got, he was so tanned and it skin like leather.
Was that sort of his way to say, like, you know, F you to the studio?
No, I think he always loved doing it. He must have always loved doing it.
Oh, okay. Okay. That would be funny if that was sort of in the back of his mind. Like, I'm going to mess with the final product.
You maybe, I don't know, but
That would be funny.
I didn't even go there, Eddie. Yeah, it was good. I didn't even go there. I didn't even think about it.
Like I'm going to mess with with how they have to edit this movie.
Eddie didn't even dawn on me.
Yeah. I mean, look, he sounds like he was a lovely guy, because I've watched some interviews that he gave. He seemed like a really nice guy.
A good, decent man, and very good actor.
Yeah.
Very good actor.
Yeah, I mean, watching Jaws 2, knowing that, you know, he was only meant to do it like contractually, not because he wanted to, you wouldn't think so.
No.
You would never know it, and that's
Yep. That's the thing. That's the thing about it.
That was so long. That was a 9-month shoot. I mean, marriages 20 years broke up on that, because sometimes you can't take kids out of school. It was tough.
How long
sometimes the kids, it was so cold, the kids had to chew ice before certain scenes so that you wouldn't see the cold smoke out of their mouth.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
How, compared to Jaws, how long was Jaws?
Well,
shoot?
Jaws, they were here. We started in, I guess, May, and we were supposed to be out of here. They were supposed to be out of here by the high season, the 4th of July. Meanwhile, they stayed the summer.
Wow.
And there were rumors that they were going to pull the plug. It was over budget. The shark wasn't working, and they're going to tank it.
Not working. The shark's not working. That's such like an iconic thing. That's such an iconic thing. And
it's not working.
Yep. Dreyfus. Yep. But now, I mean, speaking of that, are you gearing up to go to Broadway to see it when it's?
I am going to go see it. You know, I tried to see it in London because two of my kids live in London, and it was the middle of COVID, but I was just invited to the first preview. But all my kids are coming over from the UK, and one is already here, and the other two are coming over, and my little granddaughter. And I can't leave the island for that. So I try to see it whenever I can.
Yeah. In case anyone doesn't know, I just want to pull this up here. It's Robert Shaw's son, right?
Yeah, Ian Shaw, and I hear it's terrific, and he co-wrote it too, and stars in it and plays his dad, and I hear he is brilliant.
It looks amazing.
The two actors are real good New York actors, and they are. Something happened here?
No, this is I'm sharing the screen here.
Showing it. Oh, and two New York actors who are just here are fabulous.
Yep.
And I can't wait to see this. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, The Shark is Broken by Ian Shaw and Joseph Nixon, and here they are.
So good. I have a friend named Warren Handelsman who's just come into it as a producer. And he's got good taste, that guy.
And he looks like his dad.
It is scary how much he looks like Robert Shaw.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And sounds like him, I'm told.
Wow. Yeah, no, I sincerely hope that this tours, because obviously we live in Georgia, so we're not
Oh, you're in Georgia? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, we're in Savannah, Georgia, so we're not we're not gonna have a chance to go there. But I really hope that once it finishes Broadway, they tour the country, because I would love to see this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I would love to see it.
I look forward to it. I'm going to go in. If not, you better get to New York to see it.
True. Yep, I have to.
And there were lines of people the other day. It was on the news, and they called them fanatics.
Fanatics. That's cool.
And
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Ross has done a lot. Ross and his partner Dean have done a lot to consolidate the Jaws lovers and spread the love.
Yeah,
they're just brilliant at it.
You have to
Mike
keep
Smith, who did the Jaws 2 log, and he's the Jaws 2 activist, archivist.
Okay.
And he's such a lover of film and a nice man.
Yeah. Would you recommend, this is a question you might not get asked a lot, would you recommend, because I've seen them, would you recommend Haley continue on with 3 and 4?
You know, it's so funny because we were at this signing and everybody says, you know, whether it's Jaws or Halloween, the good ones end after 2. I don't know that that's true. I've never seen the others.
Really?
Yeah, I've never have not seen them.
Purposefully, like because you just don't
Well,
have
I
interest?
just never, you know, the word of mouth and you're off doing other things. I just never had the urge and didn't make it my business to do so.
Yeah. 3 has no
Well,
connection
Jaws
ultimately.
3D I've seen because my dear Joe Alves directed it, and that and John Putch, who's an old friend,
Yeah.
is in it. Because his parents I just loved. I worked for them and they ran a theater. His mother was Jean Stapleton, and
Okay.
who was Edith on All in the Family.
Oh, wow.
And his father was a fabulous guy, Bill Putch. And his sister Pam is a producer too. Great family. I spent my first Thanksgiving in California, knew no one. They invited me over, and we laughed because all I remember is how much their dog farted during the Thanksgiving dinner. It was unbelievable. And when I tell them that, we just start giggling because we remember. It was so funny.
Well, I was going to say 3 has no real connection. I know it's the Brody children,
Yeah.
but the 4th one pulled a real feat. They got Lorraine Gary out of retirement.
Yeah. Oh, she's a fabulous lady. I always loved Lorraine. And she's still big in Human Rights Watch. I have my cousin Fred Abrams runs Human Rights Watch out of Berlin, and she was there recently, and they sent me a picture of them together. But I adore Lorraine and Sid. I loved Sid. Sid was at in Jaws 2. I'm a lowly actor, and I'm talking to the head of the studio and his wife, and I can't believe it. And a woman comes up to me, and I'm in my uniform, and she goes, "Oh, sir, you look so familiar." And I think, whoa, couldn't be at a better time. And she said, "Are you in a bowling league in town?" And Sid laughed out loud. And Lorraine said, "He never laughs like this. He never laughs like this." And when I started at Fox, I called Sid Sheinberg and I said, "Will you have lunch with me?" And we had lunch, and I had my first expense account I ever had in my life. And I take him out to lunch, and I pay for it, and I put in Sid Sheinberg. And my boss at the time said to me, "Oh, come on, Jeffrey, you had lunch with Sid Sheinberg. Please." I said, "I do. I swear. What do you want me to get? A written affidavit? Come on." I did. And they just couldn't believe it because he was the guy in Hollywood. And
Yeah.
I was just beginning late in my life to become a creative producer.
Wow. Yeah, Sid Sheinberg, he was the Universal guy.
Yeah,
he was the head of
gave
Universal.
Steven his start.
Yep.
He was Steven's champion.
See, that's the stuff I love. That it's such a different world nowadays. But I love that story of Spielberg sneaking onto the
You
lot,
bet.
sneaking
You
onto the
never
lot.
know, so always take the shot.
But that's what you can't do that anymore. You can't sneak onto a lot.
No, that you can't do. But you can go to places, you meet people. The more, all business and show business is personal. And if they know you and like you and whatever, at least you'll get in the door. You may not get the role, but you'll get in the door if you can.
Yep.
And it's about getting in that door. I mean, sometimes you'd read for 10 things and you wouldn't get one. And sometimes you get 3 or 4 and they'd all conflict. The timelines, you couldn't do it.
And that's the ideal, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You want to have to choose. You want to have to pick and choose.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. But you know what? Anybody who's interested in starting a career, you've got to do everything you can to make it happen. Even if it's talking to your mother's cousin who's in the business or whatever, do it.
Do it. Yep. Putting aside, and we're gonna wind down now because we just crossed the 1 hour mark, so we're gonna wind down.
All right. I'm having such a good time. I didn't even look at the clock.
Us too. putting aside your connection to Jaws 2, what is the better tagline to the movie? Is it from Jaws 2, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, or Jaws 4, this time it's personal?
Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water. Because, you know, people thought, oh, it could never happen again and whatever. And
Shark's
they
dead.
used it, and it was really smart.
Yeah.
And they had that voiceover, you know, the guy with the deep.
Yeah.
Just when you thought, you know.
Yeah. He was prolific when it comes to that stuff. He was the voice, like he was the the trailer guy.
Oh, you bet. And
they don't do that anymore.
And the posters were really the poster for Jaws. They teach in schools because it tells you exactly what this movie is. And it was done by a guy named Roger Castell. And he put a model on 2 chairs and then painted it.
Yep.
And he was just brilliant. But that movie tells you exactly what you're going to get in the theater.
Yep. And it's, I mean, I personally think the first Terminator poster is the most iconic poster of all time, with Arnold and he has the gun raised and everything. I think that's just, but for me, number 2 has to be Jaws. Like, it's just
so good.
It's so iconic.
So recognizable. Like you don't even need the word Jaws.
And
you just know.
Exactly right.
Endless parodies of that poster.
Well, have you ever seen the Jaws remake?
Remake?
Ross and Dean did this thing a couple years ago. They did a remake, and everybody at home could make your own little Jaws scene, and they put them all together.
Oh, wow.
And it was awesome.
Is that on the Daily Jaws channel?
Yeah, I think you could see it. The remake. It's called Remake.
Interesting.
It was really good.
I'm going to have to look that up, and if I find it, I'll put it in I'll tag it.
Oh, very cool.
So that people can check that out.
Some of these kids didn't do them. You know, you never saw Annie Dusenberry do a video, or Gigi Vorgan, or John Dukakis, and Gary Springer, who's one of my closest friends in life.
Yep.
And he was here recently, and he did it from this deck. He did his Jaws interview.
Yeah. Well, I heard you got them Jeannot. And he did that out of a personal favor to you.
No, oh, he's so brilliant, and he's the one who did Somewhere in Time.
Yep,
he was, and that was because he did Jaws 2. They said, "Well, what do you want to do next?" He goes, "You promised that if I did this," because he came in with no prep, and this was a mess on Jaws 2. They fired the director. They wrote off a year of planning. You know, millions of dollars. And Jeannot came in, made it happen. And Joe Alves, it couldn't have gotten done without him. He did all the second unit, and he designed it, and brilliant. And they just made it happen. And then when it was done, they said, "All right, Jeannot, what do you want to do? A big movie? You want to?" He said, "No, I want to do this." And he loved this book, Bid Time Return, by Richard Matheson, that it's based on. And it was so romantic. Women would go nuts for it.
So, wait, the same Richard Matheson that did Duel?
Yes.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yes.
That's cool. So this one, question, what was it like working with Spielberg? I think we talked about that, but also, does he do one takes like Joseph Mazzello said he does?
He does. No, we shot more, but he knows what he wants, and if he sees it, he moves on.
Okay.
You know, Clint Eastwood was famous for doing one take and boom, moving on. And some guys will kill you doing it again and again and again. Steven was not that.
Okay.
But he knew what he wanted, and he would, once he got it, he was happy. And you know what? You learn to trust. And boy, who wouldn't trust Steven?
Well, now, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, he's proven himself. But
speaking of Eastwood, he's actually in Savannah right now filming his new movie. Well, it stopped, but it's called Juror Number 2.
Oh, really?
Yep. So
I've never met him.
I mean, look at that. Like, what? He's 91 or something?
Unbelievable.
He's still going.
Still going.
Holy crap.
Doing what he loves.
Still going, because it gets tougher. You know, there's ageism rampant out in Tinseltown.
Yeah.
And, you know, the thing to do, and what I found in my deal, I had a deal at CBS, and we were developing new shows, is to marry the generations, because we know what we're doing. We've done it. We've survived it. We have accommodated to it, all the ebbs and flows, and there's something to put the generations together.
Yeah.
That can help.
Yep. So the last two questions we're gonna,
Sure.
and then we're gonna wrap it up.
All right.
Did you ever ride the Jaws ride at Universal Studios?
I did, and it was not terrifying, I must say, but it was kind of fun. And you'd watch these little kids, and you know, it's based for them, but they just loved it.
Now,
they loved it.
Now, did you go to the one in Florida or the one in Hollywood?
No, the one in Hollywood.
Okay, so you never did the one in Florida.
No, I've never been to that amusement park.
Gotcha. Okay,
Really?
Unfortunately, it's not there anymore. It got replaced by Harry Potter.
I don't think it's still at the one in California either. Is it?
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
It might be on the studio tour still. I think it's on the studio tour. There's a moment. But it was the one in Florida is the one that I always rode, and that was they even got Roy to reprise his role.
Oh, really?
On because you're on like a boat that's taking you around the Amity Island, and Brody comes over the intercom.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's Roy. So that was a lot of fun. The one in Hollywood, I think, is just a quick little moment. The shark pops up, all that stuff. The one in Florida was a whole story. Like you were on a boat going around Amity.
I didn't even know that. I had no idea.
Oh, that's such a shame you never got on that.
No, never.
Well, I never got to either.
I'm gonna have to send you a video.
Better.
I'm gonna have to send you a video of because they obviously filmed, you know.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, it's just so cool, like watching the skipper like shoot the grenade launcher and stuff.
Very cool.
And the last question, this one is hotly debated. Why is your character named differently between 1 and 2?
Whoa, that's a good question. It was always Len, and then out of the blue, he called me Jeff. And why they let it, I couldn't tell you why they let it stay.
Is he trying to like avoid some government thing and he just changes his name legally?
I don't know why that happened. You know, Roy, I have no idea. You know, it's really interesting. I thought for sure they would have just cut it out.
And they left it in.
The Jeff. And they didn't. And I don't know what happened, but the woman who cut it was one of the best. Verna Fields. They used to call her the mother cutter, and she was kind and loving and brilliantly talented. And she had a great son named Rick, who I would love to see again. I haven't seen him in years. But, you know, all of us have a bond from doing these movies. I mean, we were so blessed to be part of this. At least I am, and I feel that way. You know, and a lot of it in life and in Hollywood is about gratitude. You know, years ago, I used to be friends with George Clooney, and he was always grateful for what he had. And I'm sure now he's even more grateful. But it makes such a difference in life for all of us, in life and work, that sense of gratitude and appreciation instead of, I want more, I want, you know, it's just, sometimes you got to stop and breathe and say thank you.
Yeah, that's well put. Yeah. Well put. And I think that's the perfect way to end it.
You got it. I had such a good time. Thank you. And thank everybody who would even sit with me this long. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You're a delight to watch on film, and you're a delight to talk to.
I could hear your monologue all night. I can choose to.
Funny.
Just stick around. We're gonna end the live stream now.
Okay.
But we just want to get a photo with you, like a screenshot.
You bet.
So, but everybody that watched live, thank you. And anybody that's going to watch this afterwards on the replay, because it's going to be on the channel. Thank you. Leave comments down below. What's your favorite movie Jeff's done? And we're excited to have had you on here. This was a big
and thank you all. You honor me. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we'll be back, everybody.
Okay.
We'll be back with another live show at some point here. Stay tuned. Right at the replay, or sorry, right at the end, Huck's Pop Culture Cafe. He's a great friend of the channel. Hey y'all, I'll catch the replay. Great seeing you. Great seeing
Thanks,
you too,
Huck.
Huck.
Yeah.
And Laren, of course. Laren, thanks, fans of something.
Oh, Laren, thank you.
Thanks so much for being here, Jeffrey. You were a delight to chat with, he says.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, we'll be back, everybody. And as always, there's one thing you have to do, and that is keep being fans of something.
Yeah.